Hi, Nevşah.
Hello, Sandy.
It is so nice to talk with you and be here on LinkedIn to share your story about breath as part of our Global Wellness Institute, our Breathe initiative, which you are thankfully a part of. This is a part of our collaborative Global Wellness Institute initiative with 3 other initiatives. But we are going to talk about breath today and how breath is now really inextricably linked to mental health, because this is part of Mental Health Month. And I'm so happy to have you, Nevşah, because you have such a long history with breath and are a renowned global expert, and you know so much about dysfunctional breathing, which is something, unfortunately, that the world now knows so much about because most people are breathing in a dysfunctional way. But before we get to that and before we get to solving problems, will you introduce yourself and talk about how breath came into your life?
Yeah, of course, sure. Right now, I mean, I've been researching, studying, teaching breathwork for over 20 years now professionally. And my journey with breathwork breathing techniques started 25 years ago when I was a yoga teacher. I started my journey, of course, with personal reasons, because I was feeling in my 20s, in my early 20s, I kind of like was feeling a bit lost. I did not have a deep connection with life. I didn't have the awareness I had right now. So it was kind of like there were a lot of question marks, and I didn't know about my mission, who I was. So I was kind of like living in a very conditioned world. And then I started thinking to myself, like, I want to go on a journey to, find myself, find who I really am and what I want to do with my life. And I'm lucky enough because I went on this journey in my 20s. Most people I know don't go on that journey until they're like 50. And I just consider myself lucky because of that. And I told to myself, like, I need to spend more time with myself, not like taking good care of myself, but really like trying to understand myself. Who am I and what's my mission here? What is this all about? So I started meditation. And after meditation, I started yoga. And in yoga, I started pranayama, breathing techniques. And I was, always interested in the power of breath. Then I finished Art of Living, the whole procedure of Art of Living. I loved Sudarsham Kriya. I loved connected breathing. And then I wanted to learn more about conscious connected breathing. And I started getting trainings on breathwork. I got trainings from many schools. I tried different schools. And then I thought in those years, transformational breathing was the path for me. So I continued with transformational breathing school. I became a facilitator and then a trainer. I work with TB group, and I invited Judith and the whole team to Turkey, and we did seminars and organizations for a long time. And then after a while, I started thinking, I need to go on my own journey because there were other stuff I wanted to teach. I was in a journey of not only conscious breathing, but also conscious thinking. Because of my meditation practice, it evolved in a different way. I think it evolved in a different way than many breath workers, because I was doing meditation an hour every day, morning and evening. And that kept me kind of like very much grounded. And it's like with that grounding, something else started happening. So I became very conscious about my thoughts, how my thoughts were creating my life. So then after that, I wanted to go deeper into thinking habits and breathing habits. And I started working with breathing sciences faculty. I founded Breath Coaching Federation a while ago, like 10 years ago. And at that time, I was doing retreats. I was teaching breath work. I was also helping people figure out their dysfunctional breathing and thinking habits and working with them. Like I just finished a breath work, meditation, and mind transformation retreat I've been leading for over 15 years now. I just finished it. It was last week. with 100 people. And it's been a while since I didn't do live breathwork retreats for 5 days for 100 people. So I feel a bit like physically shaken right now.
It's exhausting.
Yeah, it's intense. I mean, 5
Yes.
days of breath work, mind work, transformation.
Awesome.
So I started many years ago. I started organizing retreats, breathwork retreats and trainings, and then we started seeing we started having a little bit of a problem with the Turkish government because of their point of view, let me say. So with the Breath Coaching Federation, we started working with the government, creating standards, and worked with them like 5 years. We got 50 no's and then 5 yeses, and we were able to create a job that is called breath coaching in Turkey, which is now legal because it wasn't legal many years ago. Now there are more than 2,000 breath workers in Turkey right now, which is brilliant. I've been traveling around the world, teaching, organizing retreats, doing seminars. Like you said, I've been focusing on dysfunctional breathing habits for a long time. And when you look at breathing from a behavioral science perspective, it's just amazing. I mean, of course, breath work is very powerful. People who try breath work, they find it very powerful. It's amazing, especially the first session. You're kind of like, what just happened to me? Your first conscious connected breath work session. And it doesn't even matter which breath work technique you're using because it just happens, every time because of the power of breath itself, that neutral, amazing healing energy itself. But the thing is, when you dive deep into understanding what breathing is and what dysfunctional breathing habits are and how it affects our mental well-being and our physical well-being, it's just amazing. It's like if we were able to really in detail tell the world on a scientific level, I mean, I'm doing my best. All of us are, doing our best. But if we could tell it to millions of people, how important it is and what causes dysfunctional breathing habits and what are the symptoms behind these habits, how we could all stay healthy and well just by figuring our breath out, just by learning to breathe healthier and learn to breathe better, the whole world would just stop. Take time and just do breath work every day and take time to really understand what they're doing with their breathing. It's just amazing what can happen when you have a dysfunctional breathing habit and how when you heal that breathing habit, as you also know.
Yep. Wait, I think you're breaking up just a little bit. Hold on. Okay, there you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we came at around the same time. I was also in my 20s when I started yoga, and the funny thing is, I had no idea that I was missing that component in my life of feeling connected to myself. And it took that one aha moment one day in yoga with 3 deep breaths where I finally, like you just said, it's like sometimes that one time where I felt fully connected to myself. And the truth is, then I did go on to take yoga teacher training back in 1995, but I was a busy entrepreneur. I didn't teach yoga. I just used it every day for so many years. And now with people like you who have studied the neuroscience and the behavioral science, I find it fascinating to hear these updated studies too, and say like, oh, now I understand that's why that worked when I did that. Or I never really understood the how, but I knew that every time I breathed in a certain way and made myself feel a certain way because of that, calming or balancing or boosting, that it worked because it is science. It's neuroscience. It's not yoga or, weird abstract stuff. And that's what's so exciting these days because people need it more than ever. And now it is backed by science and people like you that have that deep background on the research and the neuroscience. I think it's wonderful what you're doing to help explain that side of the process. And do you want to talk about a little bit like of the evolution from the past 25 years?
Sure, yeah.
It's changed with the growth of technology too. And so how have you seen the way people breathe change along with the way that we've been connected to devices?
Yeah, I want to also start from like my journey and how it evolved, because it's also interesting. It's like when you dive deep into anything, you start finding amazing stuff. So it's like for me, you know, breath work, I mean, yoga, meditation. I'm still a classic Vedic meditation teacher and all that, but it's like with breath work, you know, very strange things happen in breath work sessions. People see visions and people see places and they feel things and think a different way. And many people talk about breath work, the effect of breath work, and many people think the effect of breath work is equals to psychedelic effect, because you tap into different levels of consciousness. You find yourself in a limitless empty space and very creative space. It's like very strange things happen.
In what modality?
It's like your whole body becomes in I mean almost all modalities, even with yogic, like with Kapalabhati, you know, it's like you start feeling numbness and tingling, and it's like conscious connected breath work, coherent breath work, TB, rebirthing, Wim Hof. It's like very strange things start happening in your system, metabolism, physiology, chemistry. So because I tried many breathwork techniques and I was amazed at the power of breath and what it's doing to our whole system, I was kind of like, why is this happening right now? Like, what's really going on? And there were a lot of explanations because different schools explain it in a different way. Like some schools say there is transformation happening, negative energy transforming. Some schools say some trauma release. Other schools say another thing. But it was like, for me, I think that's because I studied physics and chemistry and biology like all my life. And I was more scientific, like my whole mind thinks more scientific than many people. And I was like, yeah, but I want to really know what's going on. Like, what's going on in my brain? What's going on in my blood? What's going on in my heart and my whole system? Chemistry, like what's going on with my chemistry? And then it was it's a very funny story, because I literally sat down and finished more than 100 books on respiratory science in a year, in less than a year, because I was so excited about the power of breathwork and I just wanted to know more, like what's going on. And I studied at school, like respiration. I already knew what was going on, but I wanted to dive into more, chemistry. And then I started talking about dysfunctional breathing habits and how it affects our physiology in a more mechanic way. Like I was doing lectures on like how diaphragmatic breathing was affecting us, or how shallow breathing or chest breathing, or all kinds of breathing habits on the more mechanic level. But I was talking about dysfunctional breathing habits. Then I met Peter Litchfield, and we started talking to each other. We started doing some meetings, and I was interested in his work. And he was like, you know what? You are the first breathworker I ever met who has been speaking about dysfunctional breathing habits like we're speaking about dysfunctional breathing habits. It was kind of like, with all of the research I've been doing and with all of the research Breathing Sciences School has been doing, we kind of like found the same thing. I was more on the mechanic level and doing research on the mechanic level, and they were doing, a lot of research with capno trainers and capno wearers, but we were seeing the exact same thing. And then that's why we started working together, and I became the vice president responsible for UK operations and European operations of Behavioral Health Sciences School. And then I became a faculty member at Breathing Sciences School and started doing research to get together. And it's just amazing when you find something, when you find the truth behind what's going on, you start speaking the same language. And all the research I've been doing and he's been doing, like we were like, yeah, this is it. And mainly, so the thing with dysfunctional breathing habits are, so first of all, a breathing habit is a behavioral habit. So it is learned. Most of the time it is learned unconsciously. You learn breathing habits without even recognizing that you have a breathing habit. And we learn breathing habits for certain reasons, but most of the people I worked with, I have realized that they've learned breathing habits to change their psychology. So it's kind of like, just imagine a time when you were 5 years old and a relative died, and there is too much pain and crying and everybody's in pain, and it's too much for your heart and it's too much for your body. You just change your breathing to change your psychology, and then your body learns a habit. Or, for example, if you experience some anxiety or panic and you want to overcome that, you start changing your breath. So there are different reasons why we change our breath. But the thing is, like any behavioral habits, like tics people have, like the way I hold my hand, the way I eat, the way I walk, my physiology learns breathing habits, and they get triggered without even recognizing. And most of the symptoms people experience nowadays, the common symptoms like anxiety, panic attack, too much stress, chronic pain, especially on the shoulders and neck, headaches, migraine, ADD, ADHD, has a lot to do with how we are breathing. And basically what happens when breathing habits get triggered is that our body fluid chemistry changes. And when our body fluid chemistry goes too much alkaline, we start experiencing symptoms. Or when it goes acidic, we start experiencing different symptoms. And a balanced, as most people know, a balanced body fluid pH is very important. And I see many people, and like I said, I'm a classic Vedic meditation teacher as well. I teach meditation, I promote meditation, I have been meditating for a long time. And I think meditation is also a very important tool because it relaxes the whole body and your breath. It balances the whole system, like the sympathetic, parasympathetic, the system, the whole system. But the thing is with breathing, before we have a healthy breathing habit, I don't think we can go deeper into our meditation practice as well, because it's kind of like there will be something holding you from going deep into meditation or deep into balance. Mm-hmm. And for me, with all the research and with all the work I've been doing on the mental level, physical level, on the pH level, and also in, when we speak about the thinking habits, balance is the key. Mm-hmm. So I basically, with all the research I've been doing and work I've been doing and teaching to tens of thousands of people, now I'm at a stage, nearly 50, only teaching balance, because balance is the key, like mental balance, which means thinking in a balanced way. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people who are trying to be positive nowadays, and it's affecting our mental health, because thinking, first of all, it's not possible to think positive all the time. Second of all, your whole system, even your body fluids or your body needs balance. And a balanced pH is a combination of alkaline and acidic, and a balanced thinking habit, a balanced mind. A healthy mind is a mind which thinks in a balanced way. A breathing habit also, a healthy breathing habit is also a habit which is balanced, which balances the sympathetic and the parasympathetic system. So, I've been teaching balance, and I've been leading people into balance, thinking balanced, breathing balanced for a long time now. And I find it easier to lead people into breathing techniques like coherent breathing, mm-hmm. Where you work on the inhale and work on the exhale. And when we come back to the world we're living in right now, first of all, I don't have to tell this to anyone. It's obviously fast. It's obviously, it's all about consuming products in a matter of minutes, consuming information in a matter of minutes. So the whole social media and technology, like everything is so fast. And it is, when I look at back in the past and nowadays, it is much more easier to lose our balance. And health, physical and mental health, equals to balance. So I see a bigger problem than most people see because of my expertise. I see a bigger problem than most people think. Not because we have technology in our lives, not because we're living fast, but because we are not tuning in, because we are not stopping between that fast pace and connecting with ourselves and creating that balance. Because balance is kind of like, I'm going to give an example with breathing and dysfunctional breathing habits. It's like if we were able to breathe slowly, very slowly, during the whole time, like during the whole day, or slow and shallow and chill, that would definitely cause many health problems. Mm-hmm. But if we were breathing fast all day, that would cause many problems as well, because our body, our whole respiratory system needs both. Mm-hmm. There are times when our body needs a more calm breathing habit. For example, going to sleep, reading a book, resting. There are times when our body needs a more fast breathing habit, like when we're running. So when we teach stuff like, slow breathing is better and fast breathing is this, and it's kind of like, I think we lose our balance, because balance happens in between everything we're experiencing. So a healthy breathing habit, a healthy mental habit, is a balanced breathing habit, and a balanced mental habit, and a balanced psychology, a balanced parasympathetic and a sympathetic system. Mm-hmm. And if we are great that technology and everything is fast, I love it. It's kind of like I can just Google anything I want, and I can research and find out anything I want. But with that fast pace, I am also slowing down in my own system. It's like I've been experiencing, to keep that balance, I am in my inner being much more slow than I was many years ago. Mm-hmm. And that is the thought nowadays.
Yeah,
it's like we need true. That slow, pace.
Yeah, I mean, here's some good news. It is never too late for anyone to rewire those patterns that you were talking about, the habits, the behavioral habits, that then we can change those thoughts and the way that we breathe. And that's the great news, is it's never too late, and people can always make changes in the breath. And the other thing is that there's so many different breath modalities. I just want to mention and have you go back a little bit to talk about, the holotropic, or those kind of more high intensity practices that you mentioned in the beginning, because some people, I think that breath work is only that kind of practice, that it's for, like elite athletes, or, very high level breath work where you want to have like a psychedelic experience. But sometimes it isn't, it doesn't have to be that at all. It can just be a coherent breath of a 5 count on the inhale and a 5 count on the exhale, to try to balance the nervous system. So that's what I love about our group, our breath initiative group, is that we are all practicing different modalities. And I feel like now is the time where people should know, like, there is something for everyone, because we are all out of balance. And for the past 2 years, everyone's been basically living in that shallow, rapid, stress-inducing breath. From pandemic, we've been scared to breathe and catch germs. And so will you talk a little bit about your favorite tools from a basic breath to the high intensity one, and what's for each kind of practice?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, thank you, Sandy, for mentioning this, because this is a great topic. This is a great topic to talk on and dive into. So I'm someone who has been experiencing all modalities, because it's like breath is my thing. It's like I love it. I teach it. I love researching it, trying new stuff. So I'm someone who tried it all. And with that, the reason why we have all modalities and techniques, and we are trying to include all breathing modalities and techniques in BreathHub app, is because different people need different breathing techniques depending on their life habits. One breathwork modality is not good for all, and it can't be. And for example, even in my own journey with breathwork, the breathwork techniques that used to help me figure out life and help me find my mission and help me at that stage in my 20s doesn't help me in my 40s, like end of almost 40s right now. So even in my own journey, I've been practicing different breathing modalities since 20 years. I've been changing it because there are times, it's like there are times when we need a more calm modality. There are times when we need a diaphragmatic breathing, more energy. There are times we need another thing. It's like, I think the world is, with different breathwork schools and with different breathwork modalities, I think the world is moving into another level, which is great. It's like, and the thing is, we teachers, as breathworkers and teachers, we teach the techniques and modalities that work for us and that transformed us. So it's like, if you have had a trauma in your life, in your early teenage years, or, you know, in your 20s, then you get more interested in teaching trauma release or breathing techniques that transform trauma, and you help those people. Then, for example, if you're someone like me, if you felt lost and out of control, and if you wanted to find your mission, who you were, then you teach another modality, more like conscious connected breathing and connecting with yourself, balancing the inhale and exhale. So it all depends on our own journey as teachers, which is great. That's why we have all these modalities. And I think it's very important, especially when practicing breathing techniques and with breath work, it's very important to remember that whenever a breathing technique feels good for me, it's like whenever it's satisfying, like really satisfying at that stage in my life, that's the best. That's basically why we created Breath Up, so that people like me, I've paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to retreats and trainings so that we can create a platform where people can try different techniques, because we have over 800 sessions and courses to choose from that includes all kinds of techniques. People can try, you know, for example, one day, if you feel you need to calm down, you can try breathing techniques that's going to help, help you do that. Another day, if you feel tired, then you can practice a breathing technique that's going to help you feel more energized. Then another day you have a headache, and another day another thing. And just to research and just to see which one you love, I think Breath Up is great, because in the real world, and that's the advantage of technology, because in the real world, it's like if you register to a breathwork retreat or a workshop, you don't know what you're going to experience. And sometimes you don't like the experience, but you can't just get up and leave the session. And then you stay there and you're like, this is not good for me. This doesn't work for me. And that's okay. That's one of the reasons why we created Breath Up, because I really want people to try breath work. I really would like to encourage people to practice breath work and breathing techniques and to love the connection with their breathing. And I'm now certain that it won't happen by one technique. It won't happen by one workshop. It's like when there is a platform, you can just, try, and you can just, try one session. If you don't like it, you can skip to the other session and another one. So that's the benefit of technology. It's like now people have a lot of options they can choose from. And I think the most important thing, like I said, because people have different breathing habits, different dysfunctional habits, one technique that works for someone doesn't work for the other one.
Or
and
like you said, I was just going to say, or like you said, it might not work for them now, but if they get a little taste of it through Breath Hub app, maybe in a year, they might go, oh yeah, I tried that breath. I didn't like it then, but now I'm going to go back to that. That's what I love about Breath Hub. exactly what you're saying. It's a little taste of things. And even though it's really like food, also, I may not have liked broccoli 15 years ago, but now I do. And so, and it's like getting a little taste and little sample of different modalities, knowing that you'll find what's right for you now, but you'll also know that there's other things for different phases in life. I think that's a really great point that you made, because like you said, for me over the past 30 years, I like a more intense practice. But for many years, all I did was very simple, basic, in the moment, quick. And I'm still the same way. I say that breath is meditation at the speed of life, because I'm one of those people that I do breath constantly throughout the day, but I don't sit still and make time to meditate per se. I do it while I'm doing other things. And so you're right. And that's pretty much what I like to share is that type of breathing. And that's why, that's why on Breath Hub, you're right about what's great about it is that also the teachers share from their own personal experience of whether it's trauma or whether you want in the moment things or whether you want intense breakthroughs and different experiences. And that's what's exciting about breath at this time, because yes, even though it's been around for thousands of years, it hasn't been seen. It's been such an underutilized, it's been such an underutilized tool that I know we're both on this mission to just let people know, like, just try it. And it's like yoga. There's so many different kinds. There's, yin for relaxation, or there's power flow, and there's everything in between. So I think what we want to leave people with is this knowledge of knowing there is something out there to help you change the way that you breathe, not just physically, but behaviorally, right?
Yeah, and I'm going to say one more thing on that. I usually start my breathwork trainings and workshops, or like if I'm doing an intro, I think the reason why we're underestimating our breath is because we don't stop and think about it. But when you think about it, it's like we take our first breath, we get born, and then we breathe in, we breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, inhale, exhale. We give out our last breath, we die, and in between, we breathe in and out, and that's basically what we call life. Mm-hmm. It's just that. It's like your life equals to your breath. You take your first breath, you're alive, give out your last, death. So the quality of your breath, how the more functional you breathe means the more functional you live. The quality of your breath determines the quality of your life. It's like the better you breathe, the more healthy you'll get. And it's like we also know for a fact that people can live without water, food for weeks and months, and like abortions, they live without food and water for years, but without breath, just a couple of minutes. So it's like every time, I've been reminding that to myself in the beginning. I reminded myself in the beginning, and I still practice breath work whenever I can. It's like whenever I stop and take time to breathe in more air, whenever I take time to connect with my breath, I am getting much more healthier. Mm-hmm. I will have more energy. I will have more oxygen in my cells. I will have more awareness and more focus. It's kind of like, when you think of it, my brain, my organs, my tissues, everything needs breath.
Yeah, all the vital organs.
The most important thing is when you research on breath, the oxygen we take in and the other gases, they turn to ATP, which is pure life energy. So if we have problems with our breath, we feel restless, we feel tired. If you have problems with your breath, you won't have enough oxygen in your brain, and you won't be able to focus and concentrate. And no wonder why so many people are trying to meditate and they can't. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, that's why I'm a teacher who promotes the fact that we first need to, if you want to be healthy, if you want mental health, I think you first have to have physiological health and physical health. Because if you lost your physical health, for example, if you don't have enough oxygen in your brain, how are you going to meditate and how are you going to have more awareness? Your brain isn't functioning well. It's like that simple. It's like if you are breathing dysfunctional, if you have a problem with your breathing, your body, your brain, your heart, your organs are not functioning well. So how are you going to sit down and meditate and have mental health or calm down? It's like if you have problems in your muscles, if you have problems in your tissues, and I'm kind of like amazed how people don't get it and they jump into, because it's a trend, and they jump into mental health practices without even focusing on their physical health, without even focusing on their breath. It's like if you're not fully alive, there is no mental health. Your body needs that life energy. Your brain needs that oxygen to function. And then we can talk about mental health.
That's so true. And when we optimize our respiratory system, everything else is optimized. Metabolism, detoxification. I've noticed such a difference in cognition and all of that. So it's true. How would you, if somebody's watching this and they don't even know if they have dysfunctional breathing, how would you have people realize that?
Yeah. So the examples might be like if you're feeling out of breath, if you have, first of all, of course, breathing issues, you probably have a dysfunctional breathing habit. Like if you feel like you can't fully breathe, some people are like, and some people tell me, like most of my students tell me, like especially when I'm talking, I feel out of breath, or when running or when doing physical exercise. If you're out of breath in any way, that's a sign of dysfunctional breathing habits. If you have, for example, pain-related issues like migraine and headaches and chronic pain and muscle pain or whatever, and you have seen doctors and they couldn't find any organic reasons, it's probably dysfunctional breathing habits. Like my mom had migraine and it lasted forever, like for 30 years, all my childhood. And he had migraine attacks like 3 times a week, and it was like very bad. And she went to many doctors and they were saying like there are no organic reasons. It's like they checked her brain, veins, everything, and they were telling her just try to calm yourself down, just try to be less stressful and live your life calm. And it's like it's not the answer. And then when we checked her breath and when we started practicing breath work every day, her migraine started healing, her headache started healing, and she doesn't have a headache for the past 10 to 11 years now. And it wasn't psychological, it was chemical. She was an overbreather. She was hypocapnic, so she had low carbon dioxide levels, which led to not having enough oxygen in the brain and vasoconstriction. And in the end, she had headaches. And there are many people who have headaches and migraine and chronic pain just because they don't have enough oxygen in their cells, in their tissues. Or ADD, ADHD, for example, with ADD, ADHD, attention deficit problems, concentrations, anything to do with the brain. On top of the organic reasons, you might have a dysfunctional breathing habit, and it might be making the whole thing worse, or the symptoms might be just because of a dysfunctional breathing habit. And also symptoms like depression, sleeping disorders, if you feel in fear and panic and lost and can't think straight, if you feel tired the whole time. Of course, depression is also a dysfunctional breathing habit. I usually tell my students, if you have symptoms, just check the symptoms of hypocapnia or hypercapnia, because dysfunctional breathing habits will either lead into hypocapnia, lowering the carbon dioxide, or hypercapnia, which is a high carbon dioxide level. Just check the symptoms, research. If you have any of those symptoms, And if you have gone to a doctor and they couldn't find an organic reason why you have that symptom, anxiety, panic attack, and doctors usually call it psychological symptoms, I think it's psychological. You have a headache, nothing wrong with your system, psychological. It's probably dysfunctional breathing habits. It's probably chemical. I call these symptoms like not psychological, but chemical symptoms, because dysfunctional breathing habits basically change our chemistry. And a functional breathing, regular breath work, again changes our chemistry in a better way. And we know it's kind of like, that's why, especially like using an app like Breath Hub, our body, our system knows. It's kind of like, I think finding the breathwork technique that works for you, it's kind of like, just imagine a time when you were really hungry and you were feeling bad about it, like really hungry. And then you are craving for some food and you eat that and you feel fulfilled. So the right breathing technique for you is going to lead you feeling the exact way, because it's going to lead you into a full satisfaction. So just check that. It's like, try one breathing technique. Are you satisfied? If not, try another one and find the one that works for you. And the way we created Breath Hub is, as you know, with categories, because different breathing habits lead to different symptoms. So if you are feeling anxious or if you're feeling panicky, we know how you're breathing on the mechanic level and also in the respiratory level. And we have breathing techniques and breathwork modalities that's going to help you calm down the anxiety and panic attack. If you have headaches, we again know how you're breathing. We lead you into that one. So it's with categories and it doesn't go wrong. And we also have, as you know, a breath analysis system where you can analyze your breath and learn more about your breathing habits and lead, and go on a customized journey. I think just go with, trust yourself, trust how you feel, just try to, just your goal should be that satisfaction and that fulfillment that comes with breathing.
Yeah, I often sort of, I feel like breath is analogous to food in a way. And I explain it to people just sort of like you did, where I'll say like a calorie isn't just a calorie and a breath isn't just a breath. Quality matters. So you could eat sugar all day, you're not going to feel good. You can breathe, shallow, rapid chest breath all the time, you're not going to feel good. So you make a decision to have a healthy leafy green salad for lunch because you know you're going to feel better. And it's the same thing with breath. You've got to intervene and make better choices, or it's as if you're consuming sugar all day with dysfunctional breathing. And so that's why I think the conversation is so important, just to let people know that it is a choice and that, sorry, it's like a, did I lose you, Nevşah? Hopefully you're coming back. Okay, yeah, there you are. But yeah, it's a choice, and how you breathe is how you feel. And that's exciting, because we do have this human superpower to shift and to change and to override our nervous system when needed. And I love that Breath Hub app does have, those categories, because like if you are having a panic attack or you're feeling anxious, you don't want to do something that's going to, boost your nervous system at that same time. It's important that you choose the calming breaths. So that's what's great about that is to categorize things. And when people get to that point where it has manifested into those physical symptoms of migraines or stomach aches or brain fog, it really is important to know that breath is there for people, that you can turn those things around very quickly by learning how to change and train your brain. And that's what I think is so exciting, for everybody, and so exciting for Breath Hub app, because it's such an incredible resource for healing and nourishing. It's exactly what we all need right now.
Yeah, it's great to have the system. I mean, on the business side, you probably know it's a huge investment, like money-wise, time-wise, and it's a huge investment. It's a great service. I mean, it's like I'm an individual. I'm a teacher first of all, who is dedicated to introducing this very powerful tool to hundreds of millions of people, and I've been dedicated on this path for a long time. And I really, really, truly wanted to create a product, thanks to my two co-founders and my team as well, that will help people gain a daily habit and practice breath work and learn about it and analyze their breathing at a much, much lower cost. And that was kind of like my dream, because I mean, it's probably not like that in maybe America or United Kingdom. It's not like that, but it's like, I'm originally Turkish, and like 70% of my students are Turkish, although some of them live in Europe. Most of them, like 50%, live in Turkey. And the economic situation over here, like I have had people begging me to have them in the retreat, but they didn't have the money. But it's like, I just can't help them, because then it doesn't make sense. It's like, it doesn't make sense to the other people who can pay. But it's like, I've been in this field and I've seen so many people who really, truly need breath work. And I know breath work can change hundreds of millions of people's lives. And Breath Hub has been my dream for many years. That's what's brilliant about technology, because now I can serve to millions of people, create a product at the lowest cost possible for anyone to use it, that offers hundreds of breathing techniques that people can start building a daily habit. That's just brilliant. That's just
Yeah,
I'm so grateful.
I'm so
grateful we were able to do this.
I'm grateful that you have it as well. And I feel like also breath is one of those free resources that levels the playing field for wellness and mental health. Everybody has access to breath. It's free. It's always within everybody. And so even if they go on Breath Hub and they learn a few tools, like that's all people need, is just to learn one or two tools to keep optimizing their breath work and learning. And that's why it's important for everyone to share breath as well, because it is free. So if people go learn on Breath Hub or at a retreat or anywhere, I encourage people to share the conversation and also share breath tools, because you never know. One simple deep breath can change someone's life. I've had several workshops during pandemic where people say, oh my God, I don't remember the last time I took a slow, deep, nourishing breath, because we're all, and so just know that you can change someone's life by sharing a simple breath tool. So I'm grateful for you, for the work you do, for Breath Hub app, and I'm excited for everything that is going to come from all of the work that we're all doing in breath right now, because I really think it is such an incredible tool for healing, and for healing all of the chronic inflammation and disease that's happening in the world, the stress, and to balance. I think exactly what you teach, balance, is so key right now. So thank you, Nevşah. Where can people find you and connect with you?
Breathhub.app is our website. And the last thing I want to say is, breathwork is the most powerful health prevention technique in the world. It's like just beside the whole healing and easing and everything, just if you want to keep your body, if you want to keep yourself healthy mentally, physically, psychologically, practice breath work every day for 5 minutes. That it's going to do that.
Yeah, it is. It's magical. It's a human superpower. Thank you, Nevşah. I look forward
Thank you so much.
I look forward to seeing you in person one of these days.
Yeah, hopefully. Let's see.
All right, take good care. Thank you.
Thank you too.